Hey folks, welcome back to the Lone Pine Tarot. For today's pick a card reading, we have a good old message from your spirit guides type reading. However, this one is geared towards something that your spirit guides want you to know about what's coming soon. So it's a bit more of a predictory type reading. Something within the next month or so I asked them to predict for you. So we'll see in your readings what that will be. Without further ado, let us pick our piles. Today we're picking with the Eight of Wands from 3 different tarot decks. If you're familiar with tarot, the Eight of Wands is all about things happening at a rapid pace. Things happening with speed. So I thought it'd be a perfect type of card for a what's coming soon type reading. So pile number 1's over here on the left. We have the Eight of Wands from the Tarot Landscapes deck. For my pile number 2's in the middle, we have the Eight of Wands from Tarot of the Divine. And for my pile number 3's on the right, we have the Eight of Wands from the Tarot of the Golden Wheel. So just to reiterate, pile 1's Tarot Landscapes, pile 2's Tarot of the Divine, and pile number 3's Tarot of the Golden Wheel. Feel free to pause on this part of the video if you still need to decide what pile you would like read for you today. I always recommend to my viewers just go with your first gut instinct, and or you may be drawn to more than one pile, in which case you're always free to view more than one pile today. Sometimes there's more than one message meant for us, of course, so whenever you're ready though, drop down to the description box below and at the top pinned comment. Click on the timestamp for your reading, and I will see you in our discussion about what's coming soon, specifically as a message from your spirit guides. Bye. Hello there, my awesome pile number 1's. Welcome to your pick a card reading today on the topic of what's coming soon, specifically as a message from your spirit guides, your spirit team. As you recall, the deck you used to pick your pile today was the Tarot Landscapes deck. We're using the Eight of Wands. And as always, when we pick with decks, I like to put the card we chose with right back into the deck itself. So we have all 78 cards available for our message. So we'll do that right now, and then we will shuffle. Set your oracle cards over here for a second. I already drew those, of course, as always. Okay, and then we'll draw the tarot cards on screen. So, Spirit, for my lovely pile number 1's, could you give me 5 tarot cards explaining more about what their spirit team, their spirit guides, want to describe to them about something coming soon within the next month or so after they view this reading? Thank you. 5 cards. Okay, there's one that already popped. Okay, 3. I was just wanting to finish saying 1 and 3 popped out. I believe that's 4. So you actually have 4 that came out already. So we only have 1 to choose. Let's see. Well, I think for sure that one's pretty prominent, so we'll pick that one. Okay, and then let's reveal your cards, pile number 1's. First up from your oracle decks, we received from the Woodland Wardens Oracle. It looks like a mud or a box turtle. Oh, the turtle in coriander, satisfaction. Interesting. The turtle in coriander, satisfaction. I'm actually going to set that down here a bit further. From the Vintage Wisdom Oracle today, you received Sanctuary. You know, it's interesting because you have the turtle in one card, and turtles I always kind of associate with protection because they have their shell that they retreat into because they don't really have a lot of ways to physically defend themselves. Like, I mean, they have claws, but they're not very sharp, and even their beaks aren't very sharp, of course, unless they're a snapping turtle, which that's a whole different thing, but at least most turtles like that one, they protect themselves, and that's kind of what I think of when I think of Sanctuary. Interesting. Protecting oneself. Sanctuary, peace. There we go. And then from the Sacred Destiny Oracle, we have relaxation. That looks pretty nice. We have someone in a hammock reading a book before the moon. Beautiful card. Relaxation. So, I mean, I try not to get too far into the reading when I'm still pulling the cards out, but we already have a bit of a theme coming forward here for you, pile number 1's, about peace, safety, protecting yourself, relaxation, like your Sacred Destiny says, but let's reveal your Sacred Rebels before I get too far, but I think that's kind of where the theme is going. So from Sacred Rebels, you received Conscious Connections number 35. This card is all about the way we nurture our relationships and hoping for the best with relationships, our Could be romantic, yes. But we can also talk about familial or platonic, like friendship or family-related relationships, too. All are equal and valid to us as human beings. They're all important to us in terms of our spiritual and personal development. So now we have a little bit of a theme, too, of conscious connections. Interesting. And let's review your tarot cards. First up, we have the Page of Swords reversed. Okay, pages are explorers, right? Pages are all about kind of glimpsing into something new within their suit. And swords are air, which is the mind. So reversed especially, it's telling me something about needing to explore more thoughts around something. Perhaps that's where the word conscious comes in, something that's been unconscious. And they're asking with reversal to become more conscious of something in your mind. Interesting. Then we have number 2, the Three of Pentacles reversed. Okay, this is about a lack of teamwork. So I'm going to look and make sure there isn't any animal symbolism here. So there's a squirrel. I don't see any turtles or anything, though. Okay, so yeah, needing more teamwork on something. Maybe that's kind of where conscious connections comes in. We'll talk about that more in a bit. More teamwork on something. Interesting. The moon is all about illusions. Things not being what they seem. We have a frog and a lunamoth, it looks like. Fascinating. And then we have number 4, another major arcana. We have the Hermit reversed. It looks like a wolf or a coyote coming out of a cave. Probably, I don't know if coyotes live in caves. I've heard of wolves living in caves, though, so I'm assuming that's a wolf. But because we think of the wolves as like lone wolves, right? They have a connotation of being more lonely. So the Hermit reversed is about coming out of our shell a little bit more with something coming a little bit more prominently to the forefront. And then, I'm going to adjust these just a little bit to make more room. This is a little bit bigger of a tarot deck, so sometimes we have to shift things around. And last but not least, we have the 10 of Cups reversed. Okay, this is interesting because we have, I believe that's a cat and a dog. Yes, it's a black cat and a dog. Normally, the 10 of Cups is about wishes fulfilled, happily ever after, at least in terms of the emotions and feelings. Matters of the heart, because the cup suit is water, which is like feelings in tarot. Reversed, it's like something's not quite right now. Something feels like there's a bit of unhappiness. And I think because you've had such an emphasis on working with other people with the 3 of Pentacles reversed here too, especially with conscious connections. Over here is the Sacred Rebels card you received. I'm pretty sure this reading is about your relationship with somebody coming up soon, where maybe so far there's been a little bit of unhappiness in this relationship. Maybe you're kind of wondering where it's been going. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It could also be something with a family member. It could also be something with a friend of yours. Could even be like a coworker, especially with the 3 of Pentacles having popped up. 3 of Pentacles is often about, at least Pentacles, the suit, is about work and career because it's the earth suit, the things materially around us. But I'm going to take just 1 second of silence to take a drink, also look at all your cards and put together a cohesive message for you, pile number 1s. But I'm pretty sure I already kind of know where this is heading, so apologies just for a moment of silence as always. So what's really telling to me, pile number 1s, is yes, there's elements of being safe. There's elements of being happy. There's elements of feeling at peace or secure in something. There's also a secondary element, like we talked about a relationship with someone else, okay? Especially one where I think there's a lot of teamwork involved. So this thing popping up that your spirit guides want to talk to you about in the next month or so, I would say it's kind of the time frame I asked them to predict for, right? Yes, you right now in your life, I feel like you've been going through a phase of unhappiness in a certain relationship with somebody. You're not satisfied. And I say that because over here from the Woodland Wardens Oracle, when I pulled these cards out before I turned on the camera, I always pull the Oracle cards first, right? Just to save some time. I do the tarot on screen, but oracles I do off screen. So when I pulled that out, I asked your spirit guides, I said, spirit guides of pile number 1s, with this particular deck, can you tell me what the topic at hand is? And then also with Vintage Wisdom over here, that was kind of like a secondary theme to what area of your life this pertains to. Now, The turtle and coriander is satisfaction. And then also here we have sanctuary with the vintage wisdom. Something about your satisfaction with feeling at peace or safe in something is the overall matter here. But like I said too, well, even relaxation kind of delves into that same thing. Feeling at peace, feeling relaxed with something. But then there's that secondary element of, I think there's relationships involved here too, because conscious connections, number one, and 10 of Cups reversed plus the 3 of Pentacles reversed kind of tells me this is something to do with teamwork with someone else, with someone that you're in a relationship with. Could be, like I said, family, coworker, romantic partner, friend thing. As a general reading, everyone's going to be just a little bit different. So, however that pertains to you is look at an area of your life right now where there's a relationship that you're not 100% happy with. And I think that will be the guidepost towards what relationship your spirit guides are talking to you about right now with this reading pile number 1. Okay? So just close your eyes for a second and think, okay, is there a relationship in my life that I'm not 100% satisfied with, number 1, and number 2, a relationship that I am not 100% feeling secure in? And that's what this future prediction is about. Now, we haven't even gotten to the prediction yet, right? Because we're still on kind of talking about what the context is. But this is just kind of the background for what's coming soon in the next month, okay? So this is about a relationship you're not satisfied or not feeling secure in your life right now. All right? What I'm being told, though, based on the cards in general, and especially on the tarot cards you received, is in the next month or so, the what's coming soon part of this reading, is you're going to become more consciously aware and or you're being encouraged to really mentally explore this relationship a little bit more. I think intuitively I'm getting a bit of a sense, pile number 1s, that you, maybe not even intentionally, but at least in some aspect, you've kind of put this insecurity and or this unhappiness, this feeling of a lack of satisfaction on the back burner, because it's almost like there's this relationship, you don't really want to face the truth of it, okay? You don't want to face the truth of saying out loud, I'm unhappy with this, or I don't feel secure with this, because a lot of times in life, we are reluctant to admit things because when we admit it, it becomes all the more real. And when it becomes all the more real, we have to say to ourselves, okay, well, next step, how do I fix it? Or where do I go from here, right? So I think leading up to this, you've been a little bit reluctant to look at it, but in the back of your mind, pile number 1s, you've kind of known, something's not 100% hunky-dory here. Okay, and that's where the Page of Swords reversed comes here in the first position, is this next month or so, what's coming soon is a time of really reflecting a lot on this relationship, or it could even be more than one. Maybe it's just a general time of really reevaluating your relationships with other people in your life, right? And saying to yourself, specifically with the 3 of Pentacles reversed, where are other people not working with me on things, okay? Where are people fighting against me? Where are people not putting in equal effort? And I think what's going to happen, because that's next to the moon, and the moon in tarot is all about illusions. What's real, what's not, right? The traditional depiction is usually, I believe, it's either a coyote or a fox on one side and a wolf on the other, which is funny because you got the wolf with the hermit, right? And what that's basically saying is, in your life, sometimes something will look like a more harmless fox or coyote, but it's actually a wolf, like a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? Or the opposite, right? And a lot of realizations with relationships is realizing who is a wolf and who is a coyote / fox. And so I think when you evaluate these, when you let that thought come to the forefront of your mind, pile number 1s, when you realize I'm a little dissatisfied with the amount of effort someone else is putting into this relationship with me, I feel like I'm doing all the work and there's no teamwork here, the illusions will be revealed, okay? They'll come to the forefront, especially the moon being right next to the hermit reverse. The hermit reverse is about something coming out of the shadows into the light. Sometimes it can mean literally like coming out of a time of introversion to being more extroverted, but I think because of this type of reading, pile number 1s with all the cards you received, this is more about something coming to light that seemed one way before, but actually you realize, well, wait a minute. this isn't hunky-dory, this isn't happy, this isn't beneficial to me, this isn't equal effort, okay? I'm the one pulling all the weight, and it's almost like, I feel like the imagery I'm getting is there's an anchor it's like roped around your waist, and you're dragging this anchor along. There's someone that feels like you're the one having to drag all the weight in this relationship, having to drag all that burden, whereas they're getting off kind of scot-free, right? And especially, too, with the Ten of Cups reversed at the end here, I have a feeling, because this is the card of dissatisfaction with relationships, because, you even have a black cat and a white dog, right, sitting next to each other. It almost kind of gives, like, the emphasis or the image of, like, someone in a friendship or a relationship of some sort. Not really fully defined, but being reversed, it's like, there's not a happily ever after here. And I think that's what you're going to be realizing next month, pile number ones, is this relationship doesn't lead to happily ever after. It doesn't lead to rainbows and sunshine. And that's what your spirit guides want to talk to you about, is just kind of giving you a heads up about, there's going to be a lot of reflection here in the next month. There's going to be a lot of realization about what is a good relationship and what isn't, in terms of, could be romance, could be friendship, could be family relationships, could even be like a coworker relationship you have, maybe even a business partner, especially like I said with the Three of Pentacles reversed. Sometimes I see that with business partner issues, right? And you're realizing, this road I've been walking has been very difficult with this person, or these could even be more than one person, could be people. I'm the one pulling all the weight, and now I'm realizing these things are coming to light here with the Moon and the Hermit reversed, coming out of the shadows that, all isn't right as rain. So that's the realization I think your spirit guides want to give you a heads up about what's coming, and specifically with conscious connections here, which I'll unveil a little bit more. Conscious connections is all about being really aware of, being conscious, literally, like it says in the title, of what is brought about by certain relationships. Specifically, there is a little bit more of a spiritual bent with this particular card. It's about, people being introduced in your life for certain spiritual lessons, right? Sometimes it's about you teaching them lessons, not just you teaching, or them teaching you, excuse me. And so I think part of this, too, is about reflecting on, what did this person teach me? So, like, let's say it was a relationship where it's been completely a burden on you. They're not doing any of the effort. They're like a complete drag on you. They're like an anchor around your waist, like I was saying before. That's an invitation, pile number ones, to really learn a lesson about valuing yourself more, number one. It could also be a lesson in self-esteem, and also a lesson in not letting people take advantage, okay? So that's one example of like a spiritual aspect to a relationship, of a lesson maybe that they teach you, okay? Could also be that you're teaching them, at least until the point where there could be a potential separation. I'm not saying that for sure there's, excusing the pun, for sure in the cards that there is, a separation here, but say it does lead to a separation, right? It could teach them as well, hey, pile number one taught me that I need to pull my weight more in relationships, or otherwise there's going to be consequences, because, relationships are a two-way street. It's not one person has to do everything. And so maybe you're teaching a lesson to them in that aspect. Okay, pile number ones. Let's see if there's any other aspects here. Well, and I think too, especially with the emphasis on sanctuary and relaxation, and then you also did get the Hermit card, which technically you got reversed, but I almost kind of see it here being close to these two cards as after, or at least during the process of realizing these things about your relationships with other people and or one person, there's going to be a little bit more introversion, okay? And that's getting back to that symbolism of the turtle I talked about earlier with the Woodland Wardens Oracle you received, right? Satisfaction. A turtle is a creature that hides in its shell to protect itself, and then two, sanctuary is about having a place of peace, having a place where there's no harm come to you, right? And then relaxation, too, is about, well, like what it says on the tin. I don't really need to describe it. But so I think this next month, too, what your spirit guides want to emphasize is it's a time or a period where you are going to have more time to yourself. There's a lot of introverted kind of quiet energy here. A lot of quiet thinking. A lot of reflection is probably a really good word. A lot of reflection and introversion and quiet. Retreating to a sanctuary of yours. I don't know if maybe you even have a place out in the wild somewhere you tend to go, maybe for hikes or maybe for it's like a cabin or something, but I'm getting the sense that maybe even you're physically retreating somewhere in the next month or so, or you'll have an invitation to do so, and maybe by going through that period of more quiet reflection away from the hubbub of your normal everyday life, right? Sometimes distance can really bring a good perspective, right? Sometimes we don't understand the nature of something until we walk away from it for a while. And I think that's why your spirit guides are emphasizing that this is what's coming for you, is because they want you to be aware that if there is an opportunity for more solitude in the next months, to take it. Because that is a really fertile ground for you to go through the mental process of this Page of Swords here, you know, exploring thoughts, exploring the mind, right? To understand the true nature and break off the illusions of the relationships between you and those around you, and realizing relationships that serve you and are equal effort, and relationships that don't serve you and do not have equal effort. Relationships that are, you know, literally the Three of Pentacles reversed, which is like a lack of teamwork, okay? So like I said, that could be a business partner perhaps that hasn't been pulling their weight, or maybe you're on a group project at work with somebody that hasn't been pulling their weight, which, I mean, sometimes you're kind of limited in whether or not you can separate from them, because if it's a group project, you know, but you could even bring it up to your manager though and say, hey, this person isn't pulling their weight, what should I do? You know, you don't want to like complain, but you also want to get the work done, right? And so that's a way you can kind of bring it up to your manager, and then maybe you'll get put on the project with someone else who's a little bit more like a better fit, and they'll actually, you know, they'll turn that Three of Pentacles reversed into an upside or right side up Three of Pentacles of they're actually working with you, and they're not someone that makes you drag all the weight, right? It could even be like a romantic relationship too, you know, in which case, you know, pile number ones, I think you've already kind of gotten a little bit of a writing on the wall, you know, and it's not necessarily saying that there's going to be a separation at the end here with any of these types of relationships, but at least there's going to be more exploration of what's working and what's not, okay? It's not a nail in the coffin. It's just maybe a little bit of a glimpse into the true nature of this relationship and what needs to be fixed. And or if it does come to, hey, this is something that isn't fixable, cutting it off for your own best good. Okay. That's kind of what I'm seeing for you in the next month or so. Here's what I asked from your spirit guides, what they see coming for you. They want you to, yeah, take advantage of sanctuary, take advantage of retreating into your shell like the turtle just a little bit, right? Really consciously exploring your connections and your relationships with other people, taking time to relax. It could have been that you've also been, maybe one of the reasons you haven't really been thinking about it much or reflecting on it is because you've just been so busy, pile number one. Sometimes we get so busy in life that, you know, you don't really have time to reflect and think about, you know, smaller things about like, well, I don't know, is this friendship or this relationship working out, you know? Sometimes you skid right by it because you're thinking, well, I got so many problems to deal with otherwise. I consciously aren't really aware of it because I don't have time to be aware of it. I'm stressed out in other places. So maybe that's another thing, is they're kind of telling you in the future here, in the next month or so, there's going to be time for you to kind of reflect a bit more, and or if you can, to try to make time to reflect a bit more quiet solitude type sanctuary energy, to realize, okay, what's real, what's not, what's giving me teamwork, and what's making me pull all the weight, you know. And then at the end here with the Ten of Cups reversed, in finality here, this is the final card. What should I keep and what should I let go? Okay. That's what I'm seeing for you, at least based on what your spirit guides are saying here. I do want to pull maybe 3 more tarot cards here at the end, just to ask your spirit guides to give some advice on how to navigate this next month, or what to kind of keep in mind. So I'm going to ask that right now. Spirit guides of pile number ones, could you give me maybe 3 cards or so of advice for them in the next month? You know, kind of what was like your final word to them on this? What advice do you have for pile number ones? Thank you. Okay, there's 1 card. So first up, we have the World. Okay, So the World is the final card in the major arcana of tarot. It's about the end of cycles. Ending, okay? Let's see, the end of a phase of life sometimes is what it means. We also have another major arcana, Judgment reversed, okay? Not being afraid about spiritually moving forward or to a higher plane, metaphorically speaking. A lot of major arcana too, which I'll talk about that in a second. And then your third card, I would say, right there, the second one. We have the Three of Wands. Three of Wands is about making plans. Well, excuse me, it's not even making plans. It's about taking action on plans into the future. So at pile number 1, I'm going to tell you right now, the main piece of advice from your spirit guides on navigating this situation is, well, I'm going to take a drink and then I'm going to tell you one thing. Sorry, my voice is getting a bit scratchy. Let's rewind a little bit. Like I said, major arcana. My longtime viewers are going to laugh. They already know what I'm going to say. You have a lot of major arcana. You have the Moon, you have the Hermit, you have the World, you have Judgment, okay? When I see a lot of major arcana in a reading, usually to me as the reader, that means this is a major step in your life coming up. And or it's a major life lesson you're meant to learn here on Earth, okay? That's how I read an abundance of major arcana, okay? Because there's only 21 major arcana, or excuse me, there's 22. And you getting an abundance of cards out of the other 50 or 60 or so of major arcana versus the Wands, the Cups, the Swords, and the Pentacles, or the Coins, sometimes as it's known, tells me that there's something major here because there's less likelihood that you would have gotten the majority of major arcana. So sorry, I just had to explain it for a second. So this is a major life lesson, pile number 1. So this is something that maybe you've even struggled with a lot before in your life, and so maybe this is kind of coming to a zenith here of spiritual learning, especially with Judgment he reversed here. It almost tells me, because that's the card of not being afraid of ascending to a higher spiritual growth, rung on the spiritual ladder is how I would like to put it. Don't be afraid of that when you're navigating this next month or so. Also, because you have the World here, that's the card of the end of cycles. That's the final card in the major arcana. And what that tells me, pile number 1, is do not be afraid to end things that already feel like they have a sense of finality to them, okay? If, excuse me, if you're finding that there's something that's not serving you anymore, do not hesitate to let that door close to move to a higher plane, spiritually speaking, in terms of this lesson, right? To learn this lesson about letting go of things that don't serve you anymore, or people that don't serve you anymore, more specifically. And then with the Three of Wands, that's all about taking action on plans into the future. Do not be afraid to leave things behind, to leave more room for something better, okay? That's what they're telling you here. Don't be afraid to close those doors if you're finding there's people in your life that subtract more than add to it, is what I'll tell you. Okay. So that's what your spirit guides wanted to talk to you about, pile number 1. So to summarize, there's a sort of dissatisfaction in either one or more relationships in your life right now. And this next month or so, what they're telling you, what is coming, is a time of solitude, of reflection on what connections serve you and what don't. What lack, or which ones, excuse me, lack teamwork. And not being afraid to close doors to make room for something better in the future, to make room for relationships that aren't, a 10 of cups reversed, they're a 10 of cups upright, right? Happily ever after. Be it, platonic, romantic, or family, right? So that's what I'll leave you with today, pile number 1. As always, I hope that reading was helpful for you. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Please like, comment, and or subscribe if you would like. If this reading was helpful for you, it helps the algorithm, helps me make more readings, things like that. I hate to ask, but, most YouTubers do, and it's, if you liked the reading, just a little click away, or maybe 2 clicks. So anyways, yeah, hope it was helpful for you. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading, pile number 1s. Okay? Bye. Hello there, my awesome pile number 2s. Welcome to your pick a card reading today on the topic of a message from your spirit guide, specifically about what's coming soon. As you recall, the deck you used to pick your pile today was the Tarot of the Divine, We have the Eight of Wands from that particular deck. And as always, when we use decks, I like to put the card right back into it so that we have all 78 cards available for the message. So I already drew your oracle cards. So I'm going to set those over here for now, and then we're going to shuffle your tarot cards and draw them. So Spirit Guides, Spirit Team of pile number 2 is, could you give me 5 tarot cards that explain more about what's coming soon for them? What do you want them to know about? Please, 5 cards, thank you. Okay, we already have one that popped out that looks like the sun. Actually, there's 2. Hey. So we have the Three of Pentacles reversed and the sun reversed for the first 2. And then as for the others, we need 3 more. So we'll pick with feeling. 1. Number 2. Number 3. Excuse me. Let's reveal your cards, pile number 2s. First, we'll look at your oracles. So, first up for the Woodland Wardens Oracle today, you received the, it looks like an opossum, yeah. The opossum and the peony, bashfulness. I just love opossums, they're so cute. Bashfulness. So being kind of shy, maybe playing possum, they call it, because opossums are known for, one of their defense mechanisms from predators is actually playing dead. They'll pretend to be dead so that they don't get eaten. So, very clever little creatures. Very intelligent. Should have said that there. From the Vintage Wisdom Oracle, you received playfulness. So that kind of goes along with the opossum, right? Being bashful, being playful. A little bit sneaky, playfulness, right? Having some fun. Sounds like a good month ahead here. I don't know. We'll see. And then from the Sacred Destiny Oracle, you received illumination. We have a misty lake. Things becoming clear. The fog clearing. Things coming to light is another way of putting illumination, right? Things being cast into light. Which is funny because you got the sun reversed as one of your tarot cards. Then from the Sacred Rebels Oracle, you received number 19, Dream a Beautiful Dream. Gorgeous card. Dream a beautiful dream. Lovely. And then your tarot cards for today, pile number 2 is number 1. We have the Page of Swords. You know, you're getting a lot of cards that pile number 1 did. They got the Three of Pentacles reversed as well. They also had the Page of Swords. So if you were also drawn to pile number 1, I might recommend that you watch that as well. If you had any doubt that, I don't know about that, I think I'll go with pile number 2. Try checking out pile number 1 if you felt drawn to it as well. So, yeah, anyways, yeah, Page of Swords is all about exploring new thoughts. We're exploring a new idea, exploring a new way of thinking. Interesting, especially with playfulness. Then we have the Seven of Cups. It's all about the choices we make. Okay. I believe this is, I'm pretty sure this is from the story of Aladdin. What lamp do we choose? Which one has riches? Which one has shadows? Number 3, we have the Knight of Pentacles or coins. This is about exploring the material world. Okay, we have a bit of a theme coming forward here. Exploring the material world. Or I'm sorry, that would be the page. The Knight is about taking action in the material world. Pardon me, I was thinking of the page. I think it's because you got the page earlier, but the Knight of Coins is all about taking action in the material world. We're going forth on our bull, our steed, right? And we're taking action. Slow and steady, though. The Knight of Pentacles is about going about things slowly. Okay. And then we have the Sun reversed, which we saw earlier. The Sun reversed can be about, sometimes it can be about like mental sadness. Sometimes it can be about something being kind of obscured or not being brought to light quite yet. And I think because you got illumination, there's a theme here about something becoming more clear, I guess is maybe a better way to put that. And then last but not least, we have the Three of Pentacles reversed, also a card pile number 1 got. Lack of teamwork in some area. So I'm going to take a drink, as always, after I reveal your cards to, well, wet my whistle. Number 1 and number 2, also to look over and kind of put together a more cohesive message before I say anything, kind of get any intuitive messages as well. So apologies for just a moment of silence. My regular viewers understand, so. So what I'll tell you, pile number 2s, you have, I don't know, I want to say a very unique reading, because I don't think I've ever actually had a reading like this before. And the message that's coming through really strongly for you is a message about wanting to explore a certain avenue, a certain choice, it could even be a hobby or a career choice, something like that. But being a little bit shy, or even to the extent of ashamed of it. Now, this is the energy leading up to the prediction for what's coming next. So just to preface that, I think you're already kind of in this stage, because when I asked your spirit guides, when I was pulling out, before I started recording, I always kind of pull the oracle cards beforehand and then do tarot on screen just to save some time, right? But when I pulled these cards out, I asked your spirit team, could you kind of tell me what's the topic about? What area of their life are you wanting to discuss with pile number 2s? And you got bashfulness with the opossum and the peony, right? But yes, you also got playfulness from the Vintage Wisdom Oracle. And so what that's telling me is, in this area of your life, there's been something you've been considering about exploring or doing. And like I said, I feel like you're either shy about it or you might be even kind of ashamed. I'll just reiterate. I know I said that already, but we'll reiterate that just to get back to, And I think the reason you're shy or you're maybe even ashamed of it is because it's either something that you told yourself you never would enjoy, or that there's people around you, specifically because you have the 3 of Pentacles reversed here at the end. This is about a lack of teamwork from other people. It could also be that, like, there's other people around you that have tried to discourage you from it. Like, it's either that they've been trying to tell you, oh, that's not a good avenue to explore. Oh, well, that's not something that you should be proud of, or not something that someone like you should do, or, like, it's either some sort of, like, naysaying, or trying to yuck your yum, or, like, that kind of thing. You know what I'm trying to get at, pile number 2s? But what's being brought to light in this next month or so, because that was the time period I asked your spirit guides to talk about, is, well, literally being brought to light. We have illumination here. Dream a beautiful dream, which that card, I didn't explain when I pulled it out, is all about allowing yourself the room and the energy and the belief in yourself to explore a dream of yours. Okay, and that's another reason why I'm pretty sure this is something that you wanted to explore, but it's like you're ashamed of it. It's like, I don't know, like, you're shy about it. You're like, I don't know. And so what your spirit guides are telling you, pile number 2, is in this next month or so, you're going to embark, or at least you're being highly encouraged to, embark on a journey where you do finally let go of seriousness, let go of doubt, let go of naysayers, and you say, you know what, screw it. I'm going to be playful. I'm going to dream a beautiful little dream. I'm going to let it come to light. Or it could even be that you've already been exploring this, but you just haven't really talked about it to anyone yet because of this feeling of bashfulness or shyness or even shame, right? And then now you're finally openly coming out and saying, this is me. This is what I'm doing. I enjoy it. And that's that. Okay. That's kind of what I'm seeing for you here, pile number 2s. Yeah, and I think, you did get an abundance of Pentacles cards, okay? You have the Knight of Pentacles, you also have the 3 of Pentacles coins, is what this particular deck calls it. And when I see an abundance of those types of cards, that usually tells me that there's something around career or money means involved. And so I think for most of you, this is either a career choice you've been exploring. Maybe you've even been kind of, you might not be at the point of wanting to apply for jobs yet or go to get education for it, depending on what kind of job it is. Some, of course, require a degree, some don't, right? But you've been exploring that, and or this next month is a really good time to start if you haven't already. Explore things in the material world, okay? explore and take action, especially with the Knight of Pentacles, which is knights are all about taking action, okay? The pages are the beginning of the court cards, right? And pages are all about like, especially with the Page of Swords is like, I'm kind of thinking about it. And then the Seven of Cups is like, I don't know, what choice do I make? You know, what does my heart say is the right choice? And then you have the Knight in the middle here. And the Knight says, especially being Pentacles, I'm taking action in the material world. I'm going for it. So if you've been hesitating, pile number 2s, about taking action on whatever you think is a silly little dream, but it's not, I promise. Take action in the next month. That's what your spirit guides are telling you, and or you're well on your way to making progress in this area in the next month or so, with that Knight of Pentacles being slow and steady. We're going to go start plotting forward on this new journey towards this dream. My little dream, beautiful dream, right? Like it says, dream a beautiful dream. Okay. And I can tell you, it's something, if you're curious about what it's about, maybe you're not even quite sure yet. Maybe it's right around the time you view this video, it'll pop into your head. It's something to do with fun. It's something to do with playfulness. It's something to do with, it could even be something related to children, because I get kind of almost like a childlike energy off of this card. So maybe if you've been considering going into a career that works with children, like, it could be teachers, daycare, things like that, or maybe even volunteering to help children out, like, what's that one called in the United States? It's called Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Is that what it is? Like mentoring children? That would be like a fantastic idea, I think, if that's kind of that's the area you're thinking about. Or it could even be just something more playful in terms of creativity. So that could be, doing something like a new hobby, a new art that you've never tried before. Like maybe you're used to doing watercolor and now you're like, I'm going to go with acrylic or oil now, right? Something like that. And or like if you're a writer, it could be you've been writing in one genre and now you're saying, okay, I'm going to go try a more fantastical speculative fiction genre, like maybe fantasy or sci-fi or horror or something like that, right? Something that introduces more playfulness into your life. Something that's more like the opossum playing dead. Like, it is technically a defense mechanism, but it is kind of silly when you think about it. So that's like energy of, playfulness, youthfulness, having fun, seeing life with a little bit more of a youthful lens, more optimism, a little bit more enthusiasm, right? Now, what's interesting, though, is you also have the Sun reversed and the Three of Pentacles reversed. So what that tells me, pile number 2, is your spirit guides are saying this next month, maybe the whole way might not be clear, because with the Sun reversed, yes, like I said when I pulled it out, sometimes it can mean depression or like mental anxiety, but I think for you specifically, it's more about the separate meaning of the Sun, which is about something being kind of obscured, or at least reversed. It's something about being obscured, something not being in the light quite yet, especially in combination with illumination. This next month is almost a really good, I won't even say almost, it is a really good fertile time to go forward and really bring more light to, either it's even telling other people, hey, this is the idea and the dream that I have, I'm going for it, man. Bringing that to light in that aspect, and or exploring it more and bringing more light to this path yourself. Like, what's actually possible? What degrees might I want to, maybe do I want to get? Or, what's the kind of the pathway towards getting a job in this area? Or, where do I need to go to get supplies to try this new hobby? Depending what it is for you specifically, pile number 2s. And so it's a very revelatory type month coming ahead for you in terms of bringing these things to light, illuminating, illumination, which is literally, it's like a misty, foggy lake. And you know what dissipates mist and fog? Well, the Sun, right? Light. So making things a bit clearer, making this dream a little bit more clear. And then they are also warning you with the Three of Pentacles reversed up here. You might run into a little bit of hesitation from other people because this card is about lack of teamwork. Maybe people around you aren't necessarily supportive of this idea, but you know what? That's okay, because it's not their life to live, it's your life to live. And you make the choices that you make that make your soul sing, right, pile number 2s? So just be aware, maybe a little bit of, people that aren't necessarily the most supportive here in the next month or so with the Three of Pentacles reversed. But like I said, it's your life to live. And so your spirit guides are just giving you a little bit of a heads up with that. But explore. Don't be afraid to explore. Don't be afraid to say what your dreams are. Don't be afraid to play around a little bit. Experiment. Experiment is a fantastic word to summarize this reading, right? Try new things. go down that path that you thought was, too thick to walk down, I mean, the imagery I'm almost getting intuitively is like you're walking along a forest path, and then all of a sudden, after you walk down this forest path, like you've walked it before, and then there's a split, and you've always gone the right way over here that's clearer, but you've always kind of wondered about, well, what's this path over here that has a bit more brush and it looks a little bit less trodden, like less people go down this path. What is that? Like, there's an element of curiosity here I'm feeling from you, pile number 2s, and so this month is a really great time for you to maybe consider going down that less walked path and seeing what lies down beyond that brush that I can't, beyond that mystery that I can't necessarily see right now. Explore and play and see what happens, right? Dream a little bit. Dream a beautiful dream, right? Yeah, let's see if there's anything else here for you, pile number 2s. I also want to draw 3 final cards for you to just like parting advice from your spirit guides on how to navigate this roughly month ahead of what's coming here. So, yeah. Just want to make sure, sorry about the silence, I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything before I move on to the next part of your reading, but yeah, playfulness, dream a beautiful dream. And it's something that's a lot more aligned with you as a person, I feel like. Especially get that sense from your Dream a Beautiful Dream card. It aligns more with who you are deep down inside, and I think that's why you're being highly encouraged to explore that path soon. And you've been thinking about it a lot, especially with the Page of Swords over here. That's about exploring the mind, exploring thoughts. Like you've had this little bird tweeting in your ear. Like, hey, what about this thing you might want to do, And you've been kind of like, I don't know. But you're finally getting to that point of, well, maybe that's actually a really good idea I should explore. And so that's the energy leading in, and then and you don't have to go about it very quickly, pile number 2, so okay. Especially with the Knight of Pentacles. That's the knight that, yes, he's taking action, but the Knight of Pentacles is about taking action slowly and steadily. Slow and steady wins the race is always the phrase I like to use with the Knight of Pentacles. So don't feel like you have to rush in really fast, or you don't have to speed into it, but just kind of just exploring a little bit. Take your time. I'm going with the metaphor again of taking the less trodden path, seeing what's beyond that mystery of that path you haven't ever taken before. Take time to explore the foliage around that path. Take time to take in the sights as you go down. Smell the roses along the way. You don't have to get to the destination like that. This is a time to be experimental, to be playful, okay? And then not to be ashamed of it either, because, like we said with the opossum and the peony, the meaning, at least the subtitle, is bashfulness, right? And that's about being shy about something. Don't be shy about it. Let it come to light, especially with the sun reversed. Let it come to light. Illuminate. Let people know about it, okay? And if they say, well, whatever, that's not their life to live, like I said, you know what you want, you know what makes your soul sing, what aligns, right? I was saying it's something that aligns with you very well. And yeah, make that choice. Make that choice towards what brings you light. Make that choice towards the path less trodden, pile number 2. Okay. And then I'm going to draw the final 3 cards of advice from your spirit guides on, just parting advice on this. Spirit guides of pile number 2. Collectively, could you tell me, if you could give the 3 different cards, what final parting advice would you give them in terms of how to navigate this time period ahead of this experimentation, this playfulness? 3 cards, please. Thank you. Yeah, and it's going to be a very fun time for you, pile number 2s. I'm getting the sense. I mean, it could even be just exploring just new things to do. Like, for some reason, I'm getting the sense of, like, a water park or, like, swimming. Especially here in the Northern Hemisphere, it's, like, deep in the summer right now. So that's a very good time to try, like, water sports and swimming, right? Just having fun. Yeah, that's another thing, too, is in the next month or so here, pile number 2, is don't be afraid to have fun. Even if it's not like a big, serious life change type thing. like, just go out and have more fun. You know, if and when you can, you know, go out to eat or go out and take a nature walk or, you know, try something new. Like, there's something about, and I'm sorry it's a little vague, but it's an intuitive thing coming in. There's something about going out in nature and collecting something. Or observing, like, collecting things. I want to say, I don't think it's insects necessarily. Something about collecting something in nature. I don't know if you're into rock hounding, they call it here. At least that's what they call it here in the United States. My family used to do that a lot. Where we live, there's a lot of agates, and so we would agate hunt a lot. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting, is like rock hounding. Collecting something in nature, though. Interesting. Okay, let's reveal your cards before I get too far in the weeds with the intuitive stuff. But yeah, so final advice, we have the Hermit reversed. Once again, another card that pile number 1's got. So I'll just reiterate, if you're also drawn to pile number 1, I suggest watching that reading as well. Coming out of our shell. Not being bashful, not being shy, coming out of our shell. I think it might even be a little bit of a social element to it this next month, pile number 2s. Maybe you've been a bit more introverted lately, and so now you're kind of thinking, I'm going to come out of my shell a little bit more. Which is funny, because pile number 1's had a little bit of a message about more time of solitude. So maybe it's just finding a good moderation of balance, especially for those of you where you were drawn to both piles. But specifically, though, pile number 2 is coming out of your shell with the Hermit. And then next up, we have the 9 of Wands reversed. That's about feeling like we're at the end of our tether with something. Like, we feel like we don't have the energy to keep going with something. But reversed is asking for more of that. Like, it's kind of a don't give up type of message is how I would put it. Don't give up. And then last but not least, we have temperance. I was just talking about, like, a balance between introversion and extroversion. Temperance literally means, like, moderation, right? Balance. Let's see. Do you have a majority major arcana? No, you do not. Okay. So, I always wonder that, because I always tell my viewers, when I see a majority major arcana in a reading, I think it's a major life lesson, but I don't think it's not a majority major arcana, so just toss that out for a second. But yeah, final parting advice from your spirit guides, pile number 2s, for this month ahead or so from the time you view this video. Yeah, come out of your shell more. Don't be afraid to come to light with this thing that you're exuberant and excited about. Don't be afraid to come out of your shell, go out of the house more, especially with, like, playfulness, because, well, too, like, with your opossum, like I was saying, they play dead, right? That's one of their defense mechanisms, and so I feel like this next month, too, is you coming out of a time of a little bit more quiet and introversion, like, stopping playing dead, quote-unquote, especially with the Hermit reversed, coming out of our shell more, being more socially active, being more, and it's not even that you know, I'm not saying go out and have, you know, a million parties with people, but, unless that's your thing, go ahead, but, but even if it's not a social thing, coming out of your house more, coming out of your shell more, right? And not giving up on this dream with the 9 of Wands reversed. They're really emphasizing that pile number 2 is as silly as you think it might be, or as secure as you think you are, where you are right now. They're telling you don't give up on this dream with the 9 of Wands reversed, okay? And then 2, with temperance, they're telling you to really focus on how this dream brings more balance and moderation to your life. The quote that's coming to my mind, and I say this in my readings a lot, is all work and no play makes Jane a dull girl, or, well, John a dull boy, right? I feel like where you're at right now, before you move into this energy of more playfulness and youthfulness, right, is a place where your soul is kind of dead. You're like, I don't know, I feel kind of dead inside, I don't feel very playful, I feel like there's a lack of spark in my life. And so what they're telling you is, by going through this process of investing energy and time and self-belief in this dream, right, by coming out of your shell more, by daring to dream and to experiment and play, that will bring more balance to your life in terms of work versus play, okay? Life doesn't have to be a complete nose to the grindstone all the time, pile number 2s. Apologies for the sirens. It's a very busy week here in the United States. It's July 4th this week, so lots of sirens, because people get in accidents when they drink too much. Anyways, hope everyone's okay out there. So, anyways, yes, so coming out of your shell more, daring to dream. Don't give up on your dreams with the 9 of Wands reversed. And then, yes, temperance is all about bringing things into balance, okay? Bringing things more in alignment. Especially, like I was saying, I feel like this dream is more aligned with who you are as a person. and making your life not all about work, bringing more enjoyment into it so it's a good balance of work and play. Okay, that's what they're really emphasizing. Don't give up. Allow yourself to play. Come out of your shell a little bit more, and don't be ashamed to bring whatever this dream is to light, pile number 2s, okay? See if there's any other messages before I sign off with you today. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Let's see. I also get the feeling that there's a sense, too, of whatever this dream is, pile number 2 is, it's something that aligns you a little bit more closely with other people. Not necessarily that it's strictly a social type thing, but it's something that connects you more with, I don't know if it's like volunteering for something, or it's like some sort of creative hobby that you share with other people more, but it's going to bring more connections to other people, and that's another reason why the Hermit Reversed came up, because it's like coming out of your shell more with other people as well, and or it's like a stepping stone on the path to becoming, I almost get the sense that it's bringing you to a social group that you're meant to meet, and this is kind of why you're being encouraged to follow this path, is because, well, yes, you want to cherish your dream and give it the energy it deserves, right? But there's also like a side thing here of, it's also going to lead you down that path towards, it's a path towards, more connections with other people, I feel like. And so that's another reason you're being encouraged this way. More collaboration with other people. That's what I'm being told, so. Yes, anyways, well, as always, pile number 2s, I hope that reading was helpful for you. Please, if this reading if it resonated with you, if you liked it, feel free to, like, comment, subscribe. I hate to ask my viewers, and I do it very seldomly, but it always does help my videos with the algorithm, helps my channel out just a little bit, especially if the reading was helpful. So, yep, like, comment, subscribe, please, if the reading was pleasing to you. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading, my lovely pile number 2s. And remember, don't give up on your dream, okay? Don't be afraid to shout it out to the world. Leave you with that. Bye, pile number 2s. Hello there, my lovely pile number 3s. Welcome to your pick a card reading today on the topic of, a message from your spirit guides, specifically on what's coming soon. As you recall, the deck you used to pick your pile today was the Tarot of the Golden Wheel. We have a figure who is, not sure, very wisely holding up a rod to a lightning sky, so hopefully he doesn't get struck by lightning, but anyways, as always, I like to, when we pick with a deck, put the card right back into the deck so we have all 78 cards available for the message. So, already drew your oracle cards, and then I will draw your tarot cards on the screen as is custom. So, spirit guides of pile number 3s, could you give me 5 cards explaining more about what's coming soon in their life, generally about a month ahead or so from the time they view this reading? Thank you. Okay, there's one that popped out already. And then we need to draw 4 more. I just love this deck. It's so beautiful. Okay, number 2. 3. Number 4. Number 5. And then let's reveal your cards, pile number 3s. Get our ducks in a row. We'll first look at your oracle cards. So from the Woodland Wardens oracle you received, we have, it's a bobcat. Cute. The bobcat and blackthorn. Patience. Love bobcats. They're so cute. The bobcat and the blackthorn. Patience. Interesting. From the Vintage Wisdom oracle you received, healing. A lot of green colors. Looks almost like elixirs in the background. Healing and patience. A little bit of a theme coming here. From the Sacred Destiny oracle you received, transformation. We have a butterfly. Also have a butterfly here in your healing card. Interesting. Oftentimes butterflies are symbolic of rebirth. We think of, the caterpillar going into the cocoon, or is it called a chrysalis technically? Cocoon? I always called it cocoon, but, and then becoming something anew. So transformation. And from the Sacred Rebels Oracle today, you received Heaven Sent, number 33. This card is often about things being given to us for spiritual reasons from above. It's kind of how I would summarize it. Heaven Sent. A lot of third eye vibes here, right? Crown as well. Crown and third eye. Getting some downloads. Okay. Let's reveal our tarot cards. So first up, we have the Queen of Pentacles, or Wheels reversed. Feeling a bit of insecurity in some area regarding material wealth, especially internally, being the energy of the Queen. We have, it looks like she's spinning gold. It looks like she's spinning thread at least. Interesting. Then we have the Five of Swords upright. Five of Swords is all about mental battles, especially more harsh fights with people sometimes. A little bit more of a harsh battle than the Five of Wands is, at least how I interpret it personally. We have the Death card, which is funny because I was just talking about transformation and rebirth with the butterfly. That's exactly what death means in tarot. We have, looks like a deer skull here, or it could be elk technically, with an oak tree growing out of it. Something becoming a new rebirth. Not the finality of something, but the transition of it into something different. It's not the end, it's just a change, right? That's what death means. Number 4, we have another queen. We have the Queen of Wands reversed, which is feeling a lack of internal confidence or charisma or creativity. Or at least maybe leaning into it more with it being reversed. And last but not least, we have the Ten of Pentacles reversed. Okay, this can mean feeling like we lack... What's the best way to put it? A lot of times the Ten of Pentacles is about inheritance, okay? The things that are passed down from mentor to student, from parent to child, things like that. But in this particular reading, I feel like I almost get a sense of like it's information that's not being passed down, or you feel like you lack information in some area. That's like your birthright to know, or you have a right to know. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting out of it, which is interesting because I wouldn't typically interpret a Pentacles that way, but I'm going to look over your cards as always. Take a drink, wet my voice, and then apologies for a moment of silence as I put together your message pile number 3s. Oopsie, sorry. Bumped the camera there. Moved my arm forward, it was just like clunk. Let's see, healing, patience. What's really coming to mind right off the bat, pile number 3, is I feel like you either recently or currently right now or in the near future have or will go through a bit of a fight with somebody. And now don't run away from the reading just yet, because I don't want you to run away from this reading fearing something. I think you already kind of understand, if it hasn't happened already, that there's a bit of tension here. So I don't think, if it hasn't quite come to pass yet, that it's going to be a surprise to you. But it's fascinating because, yes, there's a fight element here with the Five of Swords upright. But there's something about this fight that's like the best thing that could have happened. And I know that sounds really weird, and you're probably like, well, what the heck, Lone Pine? Like, a fight is never good, right? But there's so many positive elements about after the fight occurs that, yeah, I'll just reiterate, I think it's a fight that's like the best thing that could have happened, because there's some element about... Well, I'll put it this way. So when I pulled your oracle cards before I started recording, I tend to do that just to save time, and then I pull tarot cards on screen, right? When I pulled your oracle cards, I first asked with both the Woodland Wardens here, with your Bobcat and your Blackthorn, right? And then with your Vintage Wisdom card, I said to your spirit guides, for pile number 3s, could you tell me what is the topic generally about? Like, what's the theme of this next coming month or so is what I asked them, the coming soon thing, right? And yes, you received patience and you received healing. So the major theme of this coming month or so after you do this reading is about biding your time, being kind of slow and patient with something, and healing, okay? So that's where the positive aspect comes from, where it's like, okay, so intuitively what I'm being told, pile number 3, is this fight, the reason why it's actually positive is because it reveals wounds that you didn't realize existed, and because you didn't realize they existed until this fight, they were not healing. It's almost like there's something about you or the other person that neither of you, or at least one of you, doesn't recognize that this fight will finally bring into light. And it's... what I'm being told is it's almost like... what's that phrase? Sometimes medicine, like the best medicine is a bitter one, right? It's like this is the bitter medicine that needs to be taken, like the nasty, I don't know, what's a nasty medicine? NyQuil tastes like garbage, right? We'll use NyQuil, okay. It's the nasty NyQuil to be taken to make you feel, and this other person feel better about it. Like sometimes we don't really realize what's going wrong in a relationship or a situation with someone else until it comes to a bit of like a spark of heat, of anger, maybe a little bit of a conflict. And that's when the truth comes out, where maybe one person says, hey, this thing really irritates me, or the other person says, hey, this thing, I have a problem with it. And then because it was so hidden up until that point, it was like the wound was just festering. It's like, oh God, like I hurt, they hurt, but we're not telling each other that we heard about this thing. Or one person isn't telling the other person that they hurt about this thing or that this thing is bothering them. And then finally, kaboom, the fight happens. And it's like, oh, that was an issue all along? What? And then so from that point on, I feel like after is when it's going to be a very fruitful time for a change or a transformation, you know, like your butterfly here, to take place, especially because you also got the death card. The death card is, I mean, perfectly symbolized here with the oak tree growing out of the skull. It's like something new and more fruitful and more vibrant growing out of the deaths of something else or the end of something else, okay? Like, it's not an end to this relationship or this thing, pile number 3, okay? It's not going to die. It's just changing into something else. But what needs to happen, the alchemy required to change that into something better, is a little bit of a fight or a little bit of a conflict here with that 5 of Swords. And I know that sounds icky because when we think of conflict, when we think of fighting, a lot of us, you know, we just recoil like, ugh, like we don't want to hear, oh, there's going to be a fight. We don't want to hear, oh, there's conflict, right? Most humans are very conflict averse. We like things being comfortable, but sometimes you have to rip the Band-Aid off to realize that there's a wound underneath that needs some ointment or some antibiotic, let's just say, right? And so after that Band-Aid is ripped off, pile number 3 is, which I think, like I said, either you already had the fight very recently and or like you kind of know it might be coming. So I don't run away from this reading fearful that there's going to be a big explosive thing. I think you already kind of know there's a bit of discontentment here. It's not going to be a surprise is what I'm being told. After that happens, you rip the Band-Aid off and it's like, oh, well, now that we know what the problem is, we can actually fix it. And so that's why I think the theme that came out for you is healing and patience. It's not going to be an immediate quick fix to what's going on or what's going wrong, right? Healing sometimes takes time, right? Healing is not always an instant thing. Sometimes we need to take that, you know, yucky NyQuil a few days in a row as we're recovering from whatever virus we might have or bacteria, depending on if it's an infection or, you know, whatever. But, well, I guess it always is an infection. It just depends on if it's bacteria or virus. Anyways, microbiology aside, right? Yeah, it takes time. Sometimes we have to take nasty NyQuil for a few days before we get over our cold, so to speak. But when we do, then it's turned into something better. It's transformed. it's, what used to be a grubby little caterpillar, as cute as caterpillars are, but just for an example, right? A grubby little caterpillar into, wow, this really beautiful winged thing that can fly now. It's not stuck on the ground. It's actually taking off and taking flight to, because butterflies, beautiful, right? As cute as caterpillars are, beautiful. Butterflies tend to be more beautiful, right? At least societally we accept that, right? And so, yeah, it's like this reveals something better. We needed to rip the Band-Aid off and reveal the wound to heal it. And it'll take time. It's not a quick transition. Maybe you're on the outs with this particular person for a little bit, or vice versa. But I think over time, both of you are going to grow, or it could even be a whole social group. It might just be one person. Everyone involved is going to grow and is going to understand that, oh, okay, well, this isn't something that is a nail in the coffin. It's not a relationship ending. It's just that we needed to unveil some things and argue a little bit, maybe butt heads just a little bit, to realize, okay, this is the problem that needs to be fixed. Okay? And specifically, if I had to say what it is that the fight is about, pile number 3s, you have an abundance of queens reversed. You have the Queen of Pentacles or Wheels reversed. You also have the Queen of Wands reversed, okay? Queen of Pentacles reversed is all about feeling like we lack internal security in terms of material. So, money, okay? Or it could be a house situation, could be even health sometimes I read as the Pentacles. Wands, however, the Queen of Wands reversed is all about lacking, or feeling at least that we lack confidence in something. Okay, so I think the fight is something about, well, and then you have the Ten of Pentacles reversed too, which can technically mean about like issues over inheritance or material happiness, but like I said when I first pulled it out, I almost get the feeling that it's like there was information that someone involved it was like their birthright or their right to know, but someone withheld information from the other person, and that caused these issues with the Queen of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles reversed, of feeling like we lack the money, right? Or the material security. We lack the confidence in something because it's like this thing was withheld, or like this information was withheld. And yeah, so when this fight occurs, it reveals the truth and it leads every party involved towards something better. Yeah, like I said, I don't feel a nail in the coffin vibe from this. It's just transforming the relationship into something different that's better than it was before, okay? And specifically because you got Heaven Sent here, I'll unveil that a little bit more. Heaven Sent is a card, just to reiterate, about things sent to us from above for a reason, okay? Sometimes a new job comes into our life for a reason. Sometimes a new person or a friend or a partner comes into our life for a reason, right? I didn't even say it's always for a reason every time, but that's just my personal belief. Sometimes we are rejected from something for a reason, for a spiritual lesson, for something that's better, right? And so this tells me basically that this little bit of a spat, this little bit of a transforming of a relationship was already kind of designed from above, is how I'll put it. It's something that was meant to happen, or is meant to happen if it hasn't occurred yet. And it's for the better of both of you. It's something that is spiritually beneficial to everybody involved, not just on a material level of, improving the relationship or plural relationships with other people if it's more than one person involved. Like I said, it could be a social group, right? But also, it's like a spiritual improvement too. Like a complete rebirth of what this relationship or relationships were into something better. And yes, it might be a little bit of a slow process with patience there with the Bobcat and Blackthorn over here on the left, but even though it's a slow process, it's for the better. Becoming anew. Yep, especially with death and transformation. Both cards basically mean the same thing, so it's very emphasized is how I would put it. Okay. Let me look over your other cards here just to make sure I'm not missing anything before each pile today. I also drew 3 final tarot cards asking spirit guides for final advice for each pile. So I'll do that with you too, pile number 3s, but I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything before I move to that next part of your reading. If there's any intuitive messages here. it's funny because most of the time when we get into conflicts with other people, that is a nail in the coffin. But I'm just seeing like a complete positive turnaround from this, which is really weird, but like, I mean, that's the message that's coming out. Like a complete 180 from, you know, not getting along so well, and then conflict, and then, oh, wait a minute. Like, it's almost, I don't know. I don't want to say this person is like your enemy right now. I don't get like an enemy vibe off of it, but like it's just like a complete rehaul of your relationship with whoever this is or whoever these people are, if it's more than one. It's just really bizarre, and it's a rare thing in life, but it does happen. I find that fascinating, yeah. Like a complete rehaul. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to move to the advice section now. Pile number 3 is, because I'm not really getting any more messages with the main cards. So, spirit guides of pile number 3 is, if you could give pile number 3 is just 3 last cards of advice for them as they navigate this roughly month ahead with this situation. What would you tell them? 3 cards, please. Thank you. What would you tell pile number 3? His final advice. Yeah, this is fascinating. I've never had a reading like this before. Usually when a conflict comes up, it's like, I have to tell the viewer, like, okay, well, this is what your spirit guides want to say about, you know, healing from losing that person, but this is like a complete, you're not going to lose them, it's just fight and then something completely new, but it's not ending, you know, so that's really cool, actually, so. Let me see, final advice for pile number 3 is. Yeah, fascinating. It's really cool. There we go. Oopsie. Almost dropping the deck. It's kind of a bigger deck and I have a little tiny hand. So your first card of advice is the 9 of Cups. Emotional fulfillment, feeling fulfilled, feeling... Sometimes I almost call this the smug card, because, I mean, he's having a grand old time here with all this wine, right? Yeah, good times, okay. Then we have the 7 of Swords. That's the card of some trickery, some deception. Sometimes we have someone that stole the swords from the knights here, or the soldiers, I should say. Trickery and deception. Something is not what it seems. And then we have the King of Cups, being emotionally secure outwardly. Okay. Interesting. I'm going to take a drink just for a second here. Pile number 3 is, apologies for just a moment of silence. So as parting advice, pile number 3 is, your spirit guides are saying, There's some, and once again, I'm really drawn to the 7 of Swords here in the middle, because like I said, that's the card of deception and trickery. There's something that, like, it's, you know, okay, how do I best put it? Have you ever had a situation in life where you and a friend or someone you knew thought that the other person thought a certain way, and you thought that you both would never agree on something, but then all of a sudden you or the other person says a remark about that certain topic that you thought you completely disagreed on, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait a minute, we agree. That's what I'm feeling here with that 7 of Swords. It's like, there's like a switch all of a sudden of realizing, hey, wait a minute, we actually align more than I thought that we did. Like, that's kind of what I'm feeling here. So what they're saying is, these being advice cards here, pile number 3 is to look for things that are deceiving, okay? Things might be a little bit more deceiving than you understand. Same too with the 9 of Cups, is all about being emotionally fulfilled in something, about being happy, a little bit even a celebration element here with this particular depiction of the 9 of Cups. Being satisfied, the wishes fulfilled card sometimes is what it's called. It's like, the best outcome for this relationship you could have hoped for is kind of a guidepost, is what they're saying that this change will be like, especially with the 9 of Cups too. And then also with the King of Cups, you know, the King of Cups is someone that's very forthcoming with their emotions. If it represents a person, also it's about being externally secure in your emotions, or at least like verbalizing them more. It's part of the blossoming of this new phase of this relationship with this person or people is about being more forthcoming about the way everyone involved feels. Okay? And so that's why it's like letting go of the deception and the trickery and being more honest with one another. And in that way, you're both also like, it'll help lead away from more conflicts in the future, so it'll be a little bit more smooth and less rocky than it was before, but you're also both more, or more than one person, more emotionally satisfied with the relationship with that Nine of Cups, especially because of the things that this conflict unveils. So, pile number 3 is if you come across a time of conflict in the near future, and or if this has already occurred, it might be like present energy right now, do not fret, because definitely like a resounding message from these cards from your spirit guides is that this isn't the final nail, or it won't be the final nail in the coffin for this relationship. It's just a little bit of a period of some growing pains that will lead to a way better relationship with this person or people in the future, okay? A relationship that is more emotionally secure, more honest too, especially with the Seven of Swords being emphasized here. And where everyone involved is a little bit more emotionally satisfied. Yes, the conflict isn't so fun in the first place, but I'm being told that there's a lot of healing here from that. I feel like whatever the conflict was or is, or will be, I should say too, if this is, maybe in the near future rather than in the present, it might prickle a little bit, but it's like that, we're getting back to the NyQuil example. It's like the NyQuil you gotta take to feel better. You're like, oh, it tastes like crap, right? Not so fun, but then it makes everything feel better in the end, even if it kind of tastes like crap going down in the first place. But like I said, going with the NyQuil example, everyone that's had NyQuil, you know what I'm talking about. But it's just more emotionally fulfilling. It's more honest with emotions too. I think, too, part of it is people are going to be more forthcoming about what makes them more emotionally satisfied in the relationship, and that's part of what leads to it becoming better and stronger, is because, it's like you kind of already know after this point what makes the other person or other people more happy, and then vice versa, them with you. And so by what this conflict revealed, it's like, I don't know, it's like understanding more about the other person or the other people involved, so that you know kind of how to emotionally support them more, and or them emotionally support you more. That's kind of what I'm feeling, especially with the emphasis or the abundance of cups type cards that you have. Yep. I mean, the message I'm getting from your spirit guides is almost kind of like, I don't want to say that they're giggling, because it's not, okay, conflict is never funny. I mean, it's not fun to go through, like, the drinking of the NyQuil part, but, like, you know what I'm trying to say, pile number 3 is? It's like, it might feel devastating at the time, but it's leading to somewhere better, and that's why they almost kind of think it's funny, not in a, like, that they want you to suffer way, but kind of like, oh, I know something that you don't know, like, that type of feeling I'm getting, where, like, they know it's leading to a better place, and it's just, I mean, of course, your spirit guides would never, like, laugh at you, but that's the kind of emotion I'm getting off of it, is kind of like, like, I know something that you don't know. I don't know if one of your spirit guides tends to be a little bit more mischievous. Maybe that's kind of also the energy of that Seven of Swords coming out too, but yeah. Either way, just be reassured, pile number 3, is that it's leading somewhere better for the both of you, or all people involved in this particular situation, okay? So I will leave you with that. As always, I hope that reading was helpful for you, pile number 3s. Hate to bug, but if the reading was helpful and or accurate or resonated with you, please, like, comment, subscribe. Helps my channel, helps me provide more readings for you. It's the only time I'll ask for it, and during the whole reading is at the end, because I want to make sure that, you've heard the whole message and you're satisfied before you decide to, like, comment, or subscribe, of course. But yes, I hope that reading was helpful for you. Thank you for watching. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading, pile number 3s. Bye.